Infinite Supreme Peace, Param Shanti. This is the translated video in English of the conversation between Bapuji and Anant Bhaiya on Bapuji's experience of 1,50,000 hours of meditation. Anant Bhaiya says, Infinite Supreme Peace, Param Shanti Bapuji. Bapuji says, Param Shanti, Param Shanti. Anant Bhaiya says, Welcome everyone on this YouTube channel of Bapuji. I am Anant and today with us is Bapuji, and today we are going to have a very interesting talk on meditation. So today we are going to find the secrets of meditation which has not been discussed till now for the last 25 to 26 years, and today we are going to talk to Bapuji for the first time about meditation and yoga that Bapuji does. So which state of yoga does he go to? What does he see? The experiences he has had for the last 25 to 26 years? So all this is going to be discussed. Today's video is going to be very important. So watch the whole video. If new, subscribe to the channel now, because you will get to know a lot of new things in this channel. So Bapuji, welcome to this episode. And first of all, this question about the practice that you are doing, meditation and yoga. How long have you been doing it, and how many hours of practice you must have done so far? Bapuji says, look, the meaning of meditation is that all the people in the world do different types of yoga. There are different definitions of yoga. There are different types of yoga on earth. Commonly, yoga means connection. Connection of the soul with God. That's real yoga. Anand Bhaiya says, yes, that's what you teach. Bapuji says, so I had the self-realization and had the awareness as I am a soul. When I recognized this knowledge that I am a soul and this body is an instrument of doing the work of the soul. So unless and until you don't recognize yourself that you are a soul, till then, even if you remember God and continue to make a connection, the accurate power will not be received by your soul. That's how I understood the knowledge in the Gita in the state of soul consciousness. I did a lot of yoga, meditation since 1987 to become fully realized, know my true self. I did a lot of hard work and dedicated a lot of time for yoga. I would get up and sit at 2:30, 3 a.m. in the night to experience soul consciousness, lead a life of karma yogi while doing daily activities and tasks like the office work, eating, walking and moving around to be in the state of soul consciousness. I used to do yoga in the morning, being in the soul conscious state after realizing that this alone is my main aim of life. I used to connect instantly with Lord Shiva at that very time, in 1987. First of all, the knowledge I got about being in soul consciousness, which is the basic concept, is to recognize yourself. So to become the embodiment of the self, I led a karma yogi life, even while doing office work, and then slowly, little by little, I grew into the embodiment of the soul consciousness. Many times I would go into the meditative state, yoga, on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. non-stop without getting up for 12 hours by drinking just one sip of water. There was a separate meditation yoga room in the center. I used to do yoga in it for 12 to 12 hours, and in it till 8 o'clock in the evening. I used to have such a wonderful experience of soul consciousness that my body would become completely light. Then neither could I drive nor could I walk. Then I had to come out of the yoga room and sit so that I could come to the body consciousness. I had to force myself to become body conscious since I had to go home, drive from the ashram. So what I mean to say is that it was such that I had the first experience of the self within my mind. I had always used my intellect to remember Lord Shiva in the highest Supreme Abode and took power from there. But at that time, there was red light. There was a lot of work in office also. Anand Bhaiya says, So what was your experience during Brahma Kumari? Bapuji says, yes. So when I went to Brahma Kumari in 1987, the first lesson was that I am a soul. So experience your true self as the soul, that is, being in soul conscious state. The second lesson is of param atma. So remember Lord Shiva in the incorporeal form, that is in the nirakar state, in the Supreme Abode, that is Paramdam. So become soul conscious and remember the incorporeal Shiv and keep your intellect focused on the highest of the highest abode and be a karma yogi. Be in that state while doing daily work, that is, always be a karma yogi while doing work, even while working in the office. When I used to work while being in the soul conscious state, I could accomplish a lot of work swiftly and successfully in the office. The work that took 1 hour was done in 10 minutes. I used to work on income tax files. These were complex cases that could lead to income tax raids. How many complicated raid cases would happen? But the work would be done at such a speed, so much so that it would get imprinted in my soul, and that work, which would take an hour, would be done in 10 minutes. Even in front of the big commissioners in income tax department, I had such a wonderful experience of being in soul consciousness to such an extent in 1988-89 that wherever I went, my aura was so strong that I would affirm the supreme authority that get my work done, and automatically the task would get accomplished. You can't even imagine. I used to feel so soul conscious in 1988, 1989, wherever I went. Even when I would go out at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in such heat, I didn't feel the heat. There was such a strong desire to remain in the meditative state in 1988, 1989 that I would feel as if I'm walking in the light form. Anand Bhaiya says, Bapuji, you are telling since 1997? Bapuji says, no, this is the story before 1997. I shall tell you the story after 1997 later. Now, before that, soul consciousness was the basic concept, and even with this primary knowledge, good results were evident in my office work. Anand Bhaiya says, so did you know anything about meditation in your childhood or sometime before that? Bapuji says, in 1986, the basic concept that I got from Brahma Kumari was that you are a soul. I was very busy, but I applied from 1987. I was deeply attracted to this knowledge since May 1987. Since then, I had a strong passion to remain in the soul consciousness day and night, and this voice came from within. So I used to sleep for 4 hours a day. Anyways, I would sleep for very less time since beginning. But gradually, I sought to go deeper into the knowledge. But the knowledge available was limited because when a soul goes deeper into the soul conscious state, he needs more knowledge. But the knowledge of 5,000 years of world drama was limited. So I started reading the Vanis, that is, the sacred words in the Brahma Kumari scriptures. So I told you that every star has its own world. When I read that in the Vani, the thought emerged that every star has its own world. But now, what? That knowledge was not available, and I started questioning. Knowledge is needed, and when one realizes one's true self in soul conscious state, whatever lies in the soul will reveal itself. It emerges. Since there are many layers above the soul, that is, the gross body, the subtle body, the causal body, the supracausal body, the supreme supracausal body, they all started waking up. The manifested form started living in the non-manifested form. So knowledge is required. It took a lot of effort to gain this knowledge. But I could not get the knowledge. And finally, I made efforts for this by opening my ashram in 1997. But what happened in 97 is that I always kept making efforts day and night, meaning I lived a karma yogi life, giving knowledge to people, running an ashram, running an office, giving knowledge to people. Many people having extremely demonic nature known as asurs also used to come to my ashram in the beginning. It meant taking care of oneself very slowly from all these. I got to see a lot of negative influences around these things in 97. Negative means many demons with demonic nature came in 97, 98, 99 and 2000. The spirits who come when we give knowledge, so your soul power goes away, right? So when I was in the soul conscious state, at that very time I gave the knowledge of the universe. I used to draw the entire universe. I used to teach how the universe was created. Then how did it develop gradually? Anand Bhaiya says, Bapuji, we will pause this here because I have a lot of questions and they will be left out. Bapuji says, then knowledge started emerging. Knowledge started emerging in me from 1997, 1998. In 1998, a lot more knowledge emerged from within me, and then the world drama of 5,000 years which didn't fit in everywhere. So I started reading the entire ancient scriptures, Shastras, in 2001, 2002. When I read the Shastras, there was a lot more clarity and I was able to see what I would read. The truth would emerge while reading. Anand Bhaiya says, so I also want to know about your revelation about the infinite millions of universes. You spoke about the galaxy, the universe. Did you see it in the meditative state, or how did you see it, and what was your first feeling of realization? Bapuji says, look, let me tell you one thing. I started reading Vedas and Shastras. So I used to study in the meditative state. I used to study in the state of soul consciousness. So while reading these Shastras, for example, I was reading a book called Parlok Punarjanm. In that book, one word caught my attention, and that was infinite solar system, Anant Koti Brahmand. Then came the second sentence that said, Mahashiv becomes Mahakal and absorbs infinite solar systems in his every pore. Every moment infinite solar systems get created and destroyed. All these words were from the book of Parlok Punarjanma by Gita Press in Gorakhpur. So I continued to study at that very time. I'm talking about 2003, 2004. Now everything started emerging. There was so much information and knowledge that emerged in my soul through soul conscious state that when I followed up on this learning, my intense efforts increased, like at night, waking up at 2:30, 3 o'clock. From 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, the efforts made were very high. Anand Bhaiya says, so on an average, how many hours you used to meditate, Bapuji? Bapuji says, whole day. I practiced being a karma yogi. I had a strong practice of consistently being in soul conscious state. Anand Bhaiya says, leaving 4 hours of sleep. Bapuji says, excluding the 4 hours of sleep time, rest all of the time was only remaining in the meditative state of consciousness or yoga. Anand Bhaiya says, 15 hours, 20 hours. Bapuji says, whatever it is, be a constant karma yogi. Yoga even during toilet or performing any daily activities of the physical body in this meditative state of consciousness itself, that is even in the bathroom, eating and drinking, all remaining in soul conscious meditative state. So in those moments, the experience I had of being in soul conscious state, like when the topic of infinite solar systems came, the presence of Trinity in the solar system was a common factor. That is, Brahma, Vishnu, Shankar were common in each solar system. When the topic of infinite solar systems came, I affirmed that if there are infinite solar systems, then show me that. I made such a strong resolution, and slowly, I started seeing it in practical, in reality. But gradually, it started happening that there are infinite solar systems. Anandbhaiya says, so this incident happened. Did you see this when you used to meditate with your eyes closed, or did it happen while sitting? Bapuji says, I also used to do yoga with eyes open. When I did it with my eyes closed, the experience was more like in the morning with my eyes closed. Anandbhaiya says, so you do this in the sitting posture or lying down? Bapuji says, sometimes while lying down at night, even while lying down in sleep, I would fall asleep with a resolution. Anandbhaiya says, can this be called Nidra Yoga? Bapuji says, in Nidra Yoga, that is, in the deep sleep meditative state, I used to go into the unconscious mind. While doing this yoga, my unconscious mind would open up. I noticed in my experiences that if you have a very good and deep experience of soul consciousness, then the unconscious mind opens, and whatever things are recorded in the soul, not only the infinite solar systems, but how are the infinite solar systems created and destroyed? Then how galaxies and universes are formed and destroyed? Then how are multiverses created and destroyed? Anandbhaiya says, I am speaking of a layman person. If anyone looks through a telescope with his own eyes, he sees that distant galaxies are merging with each other, or new ones are being formed or dying. Is this something that you saw in the same way? Bapuji says, yes, it was visible to me. A galaxy is many light years away, many billions of light years. Anandbhaiya says, so Bapuji, the world up there, is it black and white or is it colored? Bapuji says, look, always when I am in the state of soul consciousness, for example, there is a solar system. Just like we believe there is a solar system, a single Brahmand is a solar system. In the entire solar system, there are 14 worlds. So the whole is visible to me, the 14 worlds, including the underworlds also. Anandbhaiya says, but Bapuji, these layers, are they there? What I mean by that is when we make photos, we can draw these layers with pencil. But in reality, are there separate layers that one can see with our eyes? How does one come to know that there are layers? Bapuji says, so they say, right? The Brahmastra opens when we become soul conscious. It means that the third eye opens. The third eye means soul consciousness. There is my video on the third eye. So when your third eye, that is soul conscious form, opens up, you can see the solar system, Brahmand, galaxy, or the Mahabrahmand, the universe or the Param Mahabrahmand, everything. It could be seen in practical. But at the same time, it was very difficult to describe. I could see everything. I used to watch the universe since 1998 and used to explain to people, used to teach on board since 1998. But no one could understand. People used to run away saying utopic knowledge, that which is impractical. So initially, out of fear, I shared only limited knowledge, what people could understand. Then when the science developed, so I started talking about science and a little bit more about based on the capacity of people to understand a little beyond. Anandbhaiya says, did you get the realization of the existence of multiverse in 2015 or before? Bapuji says, no, I became completely clear about the multiverse in 2012. Didn't I make a video of it until later? Anandbhaiya says, it came in 2016. Bapuji says, yes, the one I made in 2015, 2016, History of Universe, Creation of Multiverse, I saw all these things and I made a video of the same. Anand Bhaiya says, when you are in the meditative state, that is yoga, like you say, I go to the upper world. So which world do you go to during meditation, Bapuji? Bapuji says, look, I have gone through different stages. I used to observe and teach the universe since 1998, but no one understood. There were some additions and alterations in it. Additions and alterations took place in the knowledge of the universe. Our universe was of 16 color or the celestial degrees of power, but it fell from 16 to 8 color or celestial degrees of power, then from 8 to 0 color, and today it is in minus. So I thought all this. So when I used to watch the universe, the Brahmand or the solar system is a minor thing in that. It is very small minor. It cannot be compared to the size of even a small mustard seed. The Brahmand, that is the solar system, the Mahabrahmand, that is the galaxy, are a drop in the ocean. Anand Bhaiya says, when you go in your meditation with your intellect, how do you go? I mean, is it that your resolution goes, or is it that your mental body, subtle body, causal body goes there? Bapuji says, whenever I used to teach about this multiverse, that this multiverse is of 100 color, that is, of the power of 100 celestial degrees, how the 100 color multiverse creation took place, it was that the creator of the multiverse is creating it like this, doing it like this in 100 color. Then, while teaching with 100 color, I saw how it, Paramdam, the Supreme Abode of 100 color was created and became incorporeal. Then, how it came down to 90 color, then 80 color, like this, then to 40 color. So I would see that I am present there. I can see that and I tell and teach. I am watching there as I am teaching here on the board. Anand Bhaiya says, meaning you are sitting in front of us live right now. So are you sitting here and there too? Bapuji says, it is there also. I used to feel like this because I used to be in my soul conscious state. Anand Bhaiya says, this is the time when you used to teach, right? So when you go into meditation, what kind of feelings or experience did you have? What is happening at that time? Are you present in this physical body or not? Bapuji says, this meditation has to be done many times over and over again. Repetition is done many times and this is taught later on the board. Anand Bhaiya says, no, I understand that, Bapuji, but where is your soul? What is your body like when you do yoga lying down? So at that time, is your soul in the body or is in your subtle body? Bapuji says, no, my soul doesn't go anywhere leaving my body. Anand Bhaiya says, soul remains inside the body. Bapuji says, the soul is inside. Even my subtle body does not come out. I thought many times that my subtle body experience was up there, my subtle body. Anand Bhaiya says, and the causal body, the supracausal body? Bapuji says, but I have my form there as well, the one who teaches me by sending rays of information. I have a subtle form and it helps me. Anand Bhaiya says, so in meditation, you connect with them? Bapuji says, when I resolve and whatever resolution I make, it gives me the answer. Anand Bhaiya says, no, that I understand clearly. But when you start going into meditation, do you decide whether I want to connect with my form or myself? Bapuji says, earlier I did not know about my subtle form. I used to think that who is there up, that is what I am. Anand Bhaiya says, then how did you know? Bapuji says, but after a long time, I came to know that I have a subtle form or the Arkari Roop. Anand Bhaiya says, it has a separate existence. Is it different from you? Bapuji says, in practical, it has a different existence than me, who would make me emerge. It made the knowledge of the entire multiverse emerge within me. It is the one who emerged within me, the knowledge of the universe. So it taught me about the universe. It seemed as if I was teaching by looking into the universe. Anand Bhaiya says, so does that form ever appear before you on earth? Bapuji says, no, he works only by staying there in the universe. Anand Bhaiya says, he doesn't come down into the universe. Bapuji says, he will not come to the solar system. He only stays till the universe. Anand Bhaiya says, so what is that form like? Is it pure white light or is it like your shadow? Bapuji says, like a shadow. Anand Bhaiya says, white shadow or black shadow? Bapuji says, like my dress. This is how it will appear to me. Dress will change, so that will also change. Exact to exact. As I am, so is he. Anand Bhaiya says, but its combination of elements will be different. Bapuji says, he is of supreme light, not even of param tattva or the pure divine elements, but of pure ultimate light. Anand Bhaiya says, with the power of how many celestial degrees, Bapuji? Bapuji says, at that time, I feel that in this physical form, I have a body of supreme light, param light of 10 celestial degrees. It is not much in frequency. I will have to work harder to be in a higher frequency. That's why he had a body of supreme light of 10 celestial degrees. Anand Bhaiya says, so when you talked about beyond the universe, that is the multiverse, for the first time, so that's the time this form gave you the knowledge of the multiverse. So did he first go to the multiverse and gave knowledge from there? Bapuji says, no, he was giving me the knowledge of the universe in 1998. I think that I am there. Anand Bhaiya says, so how long does it take you to connect with him? Bapuji says, 1 second. Anand Bhaiya says, if you think right now, can you connect then? Bapuji says, when I make a resolution and become the embodiment of self as soul conscious, I have always remained in my true form. My latent form is always present in the manifest, as if I was eating while thinking. But even while eating or bathing, if I think about the universe or the multiverse, he can immediately connect to me and responds immediately and shows me. That scene shows everything above from the multiverse. Anand Bhaiya says, so when you gave the unlimited profound knowledge, the Behad gyan, you told that the world is limitless. There is a world above the multiverse. So, was it that your subtle form at that time, he went to the infinite world and told you that? Bapuji says, that subtle form kept helping me till the multiverse. It has its limit up to one multiverse. Anand Bhaiya says, of our multiverse? Bapuji says, he showed more and more of our multiverse till the great multiverse, meaning he showed the world of 100 kala or 100 celestial degrees, the world of 101 kala. But the world above that is like 200 kala, 500 kala, 1000 kala, 2000 kala, 10,000 kala, 1 crore kala, like that. That record was there inside me. The record was written in my own soul. I had the record in my soul from the root from which I came, the route by which I had come from the Supreme Abode of Behad Kala from above. That route is recorded inside me, inside my soul. I kept progressing with my soul conscious state and it kept emerging. Like the curtains open, so the information and knowledge started emerging. Anand Bhaiya says, so Bapuji, tell me whether there is a spaceship to go from here to there and beyond during this transition, or is there a vehicle in space, or is there any need for it, or can one go only with direct resolution? Like you talked about 2000 colors, you talked about 10,000 colors. So to go there, to go to the world of light, is there a vehicle of light? How does the soul reach there? Bapuji says, 100 color souls, 200 color or 500 color souls roam around using a vehicle of light. Like the UFOs come here today. There's UFOs everywhere. The vehicle of light is of different color, that is, with different celestial degrees of power. Anand Bhaiya says, vehicle of light? Bapuji says, it is a vehicle of param light, that is, the purest divine light. Like here, the purest divine elements, that is, of param tattvas, come here. Anand Bhaiya says, so how and when did you meet someone with such a light vehicle for the first time? Have you ever talked to what they call aliens? In which year did you talk to them? Bapuji says, many times I talked to 2100 color people. Anand Bhaiya says, with their creator of 2100 color person? Bapuji says, there is a direct conversation with those of 2100 color. In the Nirakari formless stage, I talk to the Nirakari, the formless one, then the 101 color one. Anand Bhaiya says, when you gave the knowledge of the 2100 PD generations, was it then? So you gave the knowledge in 2016? Bapuji says, so when I went to the 2100 color, made a resolve that the complete knowledge of 2100 color emerges in me. So at that time, I talked to him also. He has also come here. He was working with us in G2 and at that same time, he was working with our subtle form also. He was working in a subtle way. So in the same way, I talked to the creator of 101 PD generation. So 101 PD means 10,101 color. Anand Bhaiya says, so Bapuji, for what do you call out-of-body experience? What the people of the world say? Bapuji says, people of the world say they can go into the solar system. But this was the recording in my soul, the stage of my soul. As soon as I am in soul conscious state, I can talk to whomever I want. I resolved to talk to 101 Kala Creator, 101 PD Soul today. So, in soul conscious state, I remembered it and just connected with and talked. Anand Bhaiya says, but for that, you will have to first resolve from here and go up above the multiverse. Bapuji says, this is how I became soul conscious, resolved and got connected to it. Anand Bhaiya says, within a second? Bapuji says, just like you turn on the TV and get connected, I did not have an out-of-body experience. In the beginning, it seemed to me that I am above in the universe and teaching. Anand Bhaiya says, so Bapuji, those who say that I have had an out-of-body experience, that my subtle body came out and that the subtle body was looking at my physical body in that way that my subtle body is different from my physical body. What is this thing then, Bapuji? Bapuji says, in this, there are various types. For example, in some people, the subtle body comes out. there is a technique for doing that. Anand Bhaiya says, did you try doing that, Bapuji? Bapuji says, no, I didn't do that. I was always in the soul conscious state. Anand Bhaiya says, should a layman try doing this? Bapuji says, look, it's a very risky thing to do that. If your subtle body comes out practically, then this physical body will be dead. Anand Bhaiya says, there are many people who say during the time of operation they have had this experience. Bapuji says, those who are on the verge of dying and they give them anesthesia to make them unconscious, their subtle body comes out. Anand Bhaiya says, what they call as near-death experience. Bapuji says, we have a video on near-death experience, right? This happens because they have many souls with them. They hold them and take them up and show them the world above. The worlds above are very different and unique. Anand Bhaiya says, so what you are trying to say is that those who are experiencing near death, only they can experience this, not a normal person who would want to go up, roam a bit and come back. Bapuji says, this was done by the yogis in the olden days. Our yogis who live in the Himalayas, who have been meditating since many thousands of years. They were having the knowledge of Brahm, would experience Brahma Swarup. So they would remove their subtle bodies and go up, but they had a limitation. They would go only till 1 to 3 lokas above. They would not go above this. They would not go above heaven, that is Swarglok. Above that are Maharlok, Janlok, Taplok, Satyalok, Brahmapuri, Vishnupuri, Shivpuri, Paramdam. Anand Bhaiya says, but Brahma Rishi have come from different solar systems, so they would possibly go there as well. Bapuji says, but Brahma Rishi mostly would give the knowledge here. Now Brahma Rishi are very few in number. Anand Bhaiya says, okay, there were 7, right? Bapuji says, yes, the 7 Saptarishis, the stars from where they came. The stars are nothing but solar systems, right? They would come from different solar systems to give the knowledge. So, the one who experiences soul conscious state, Brahma Swarup, or say Aham Brahmasmi, Shivoham Shivoham, all these are the same, right? The third eye is that only, right? When the third eye opens, from where the soul has come, till there the soul can travel. Anand Bhaiya says, yes, this you have told us in the video. Bapuji says, if Saptarishi has come from wherever he has come from a different solar system, here star means a sun. In one solar system, there is only one sun. So if they have come from different solar systems, till there they can go. Anand Bhaiya says, Bapuji, please tell us the out-of-body experience that we spoke about. It happens only during near death or other souls make it happen? So all these things nobody should try, right? Like leave the body and go. Bapuji says, if your subtle body comes out of this body, then the physical body becomes dead. And then later, if you don't know the right technique to come back to your physical body, if you're not able to enter your body, then the dead body will lay there. Then what will you do? Many have had this experience. Anand Bhaiya says, yes, this is true. Bapuji says, this requires a lot of effort. Anand Bhaiya says, because many times they take it to the crematorium and while going on the way, it enters the body and then they say the dead has come back alive. He just stood up in the crematorium. Bapuji says, yes, this happens. Anand Bhaiya says, like you had said that my grandmother, means your mother, she with her subtle body would sit on the astral plane and go with the Devi. What kind of a meditation was that, Bapuji? Bapuji says, when we were very little, Jogini Devi would come. She would take her subtle body and make her sit in her UFO. At that time, the Gujarati word for UFO was different. For 2 to 3 days, she would make her roam in the solar system, show her the worlds above, and would put back her subtle body inside the physical body. Anand Bhaiya says, so, would she take her subtle body? Bapuji says, yes, she would take her subtle body. Anand Bhaiya says, so have you tried removing your subtle body? Bapuji says, no, I have not done that. I have never experienced having a feeling that my subtle body has come out. Anand Bhaiya says, okay, got it. My many questions have been answered right there. Right now, sitting here, can you see what is happening in the solar system? Bapuji says, I can see whatever I want to see. My stage has become such that in this physical and subtle world, what is happening with regard to aliens, I see a little. I don't waste much of my time. I made video on aliens, right? I see a little bit. Anand Bhaiya says, I'm talking about this because some accomplished people say that sitting here, they can tell what is happening in America. They can see it. Bapuji says, they can do that, right? Because with them, there are subtle world souls. Anand Bhaiya says, my question is, can you do that, Bapuji? Bapuji says, if I want, I can do that, but I have a lot of work of the above creations. That is why I don't have time for all this. Anand Bhaiya says, have you experienced anything like that? Ever tried seeing whether anything is truth or false? Any soul, what are they doing this time? Bapuji says, this is not my work, because if I go to do that, then a lot of my time will get wasted, because a lot of my energy will get wasted. Then I give the direction to my subtle form, saying him to give the report of what is happening there. When I am in soul conscious state, I emerge myself above thousands of colors of solar systems above and see. From many years, my work of the above creations is happening from 2019. Anand Bhaiya says, so what is happening in this solar system, Brahmapuri, Vishnupuri, you have not checked? Bapuji says, I get the report from my subtle form. Anand Bhaiya says, so of the infinite solar systems, infinite Brahma, Vishnu and Shankar, have you seen them? Bapuji says, yes, I've seen them all. Anand Bhaiya says, so do they look like our solar systems, Brahma, Vishnu and Shankar? Bapuji says, look, there are infinite solar systems, right? I have spoken about this in our videos, History of Universe. I have seen this in 2006, 2007. I've seen the infinite solar systems getting created and destroyed. Anand Bhaiya says, like in the Shastras, there is a mention of the three-faced Brahma, 100-faced Brahma, 1,000-faced Brahma. Bapuji says, like in infinite solar systems, infinite Brahma, Vishnu and Shankar exist. Anand Bhaiya says, have you seen them? Bapuji says, yes, I have seen them. Anand Bhaiya says, in our Milky Way galaxy, how many are there? Bapuji says, 800 billion. I have made a video on that. Anand Bhaiya says, so Brahma, Vishnu and Shankar, do they leave their solar system and go to different other solar systems? Bapuji says, no, they don't go. They have a limit. Anand Bhaiya says, so the creation of Mahashiv, where Mahavishnu, Mahabrahma resides? Bapuji says, where Mahavishnu, Mahabrahma resides, there are mainly Mahashaktis, who are 16,108 in number, reside in the galaxy, that is Mahabrahmand. She runs the infinite solar systems. I have told this in the video. Just like this, in the Param Mahabrahmand, that is the universe, there are Param Mahashaktis who reside there, who are 9 lakh in number. Our universe is 2400 billion light years. Now, the observable universe is 93 billion light years in terms of science. I can see that one cluster of galaxies is eating another cluster of galaxies far away from us. So, if I want, I can see anything. Before, I used to see a lot. This observation got over in 2006-2007. Anand Bhaiya says, but Bapuji, how is the world above? Is it colorful or black and white? Because the photos that we see, they are taken by the infrared light and they add color to it and then they show it to us. Reality is something different. Bapuji says, I have in very detail made a video called Life in Andromeda. Anand Bhaiya says, but the answer for this question was not there in that video as well. Bapuji says, the world above is made of param tattvas. The atmosphere there is different. Anand Bhaiya says, how is the shape of the universe? Is it egg-shaped, round, or square? Bapuji says, just like we have our solar system, it moves in the speed of 2500 kilometers per second. So whichever moves, its shape is egg-shaped. It is not exactly round-shaped, it is egg-shaped. So just like that, our galaxy also moves around the universe like a supermassive black hole around its creator. So even the shape of the galaxy is egg-shaped. Anand Bhaiya says, so when you see from far, how does it look like? Is it a white dot or a black dot? Or which color is it, Bapuji? Bapuji says, different galaxies have different colors. The color combination is different. Anand Bhaiya says, is it only in our universe or is it even in other universes? Bapuji says, in great universe, how many ever universes are there, right? Which science has spoken about parallel universes, every universe's color combination is different. When I used to go up in great universe and see universes, every universe's color combination is different. The variety of colors is in crores. When you go to great multiverse, there are infinite multiverses, right? The color combination is in param light form. 100 colors color combination, how many would there be? You can't even imagine. Anand Bhaiya says, when you started seeing all these, did you have any self-doubt that this can be false? Bapuji says, but if the whole day you see the same thing, and when your mind doesn't get attracted to this physical mortal world, then how will you get any doubt? You are looking at the above worlds while eating, drinking, walking, and sleeping in real. You are able to see all those, then there is no self-doubt. Anand Bhaiya says, then when did you come to know that Jagat Mithya Brahma Satya, which means this mortal physical world is false and only consciousness is the truth? Bapuji says, we don't speak about lies. This world is made of 5 gross elements. We won't speak about what Shankaracharya says, that Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. Anand Bhaiya says, but for a layman, this world is a lie, right? Bapuji says, listen, for example, in a solar system, this is a physical world, right? Above that is the subtle world. Devtas live in the subtle world. Above this physical world are 7 worlds above, and in 7 worlds below, demons live. Anand Bhaiya says, for a layman, whatever he sees, he thinks is the truth, and whatever he doesn't see is false. Bapuji says, there is a mention of infinite solar systems in the Shastras as well. It is also mentioned that infinite solar systems get created and destroyed. This is also mentioned in Parlok Punarjanm book. Anand Bhaiya says, okay, so now you tell us, Bapuji, that whom we call as aliens, how do they look like? How is their shape? Bapuji says, aliens are of variety types. The ones who are coming on earth, I have told about this, right? I have seen a little. So their Viman, which are made of param tattvas, what we can call as UFOs, that they have come in some are 5, 10 in number. Above in the subtle and causal world, there are many UFOs waiting. So some from the UFOs come on earth for observations. Anand Bhaiya says, so what is their shape, Bapuji? Bapuji says, mostly they are round in shape. Anand Bhaiya says, like humans, they don't have a long shape with feet and hands. Bapuji says, they create different types of shapes, but mostly they make round shape only. Anand Bhaiya says, so they are in the form of dot and then they become of 2 feet, 5 feet, 10 feet, etc. Bapuji says, through the power of thought, they can become big or small because their body is of param tattvas. Anand Bhaiya says, when the aliens come to meet you, in which shape are they in? For example, if 10 aliens come to meet you, in which shape will they come? Will there be 10 different groups? Bapuji says, no. In one group, there will be 10 aliens. Anand Bhaiya says, I want to know the shape of the aliens. Bapuji says, if they want, they can be of 1 foot or even 10 foot. They can change their shape just by the power of their thought. Anand Bhaiya says, when you saw them for the first time, in which form did you see them? And when did you come to know that they are aliens? Bapuji says that realization happened a long time back. In 1998, I used to see everything. When I used to teach the knowledge of the universe, of the 16 Kala universe, that time I used to see everything. Anand Bhaiya says, did they communicate with you? Did they speak to you? Bapuji says, in the beginning in 1998, in our ashram, many UFOs have landed in 98, 99. Anand Bhaiya says, did they speak to you about anything? Did they give any message? Bapuji says, many times when I would do the class here, these aliens would sit at the back and listen to the knowledge that I would give. I have experienced this during 1999, 2000, 2001. But I would never tell this to anyone as nobody would believe me. These aliens would come to listen to the knowledge and to carry out experiments. They would abduct people, carry out experiments and observations on them and get them back here. When I used to teach about the universe, they would come and sit and listen. Strictly, with full attention, they would listen to me. They had come from a different solar system or maximum other galaxy, right? So when I used to speak about the universe, they would be very interested in it and would listen to me. They have heard a lot of our knowledge and then in the subtle world, they would go and spread the knowledge. Anand Bhaiya says, so have they not communicated and told you that, Bapuji, you're telling the truth or in this there is a mistake, please change? Bapuji says, they don't have the knowledge only. What advice will they give me? When I used to give the knowledge of the 16 Kala universe, then 15 Kala, 14 Kala, so on. Anand Bhaiya says, then where would they go after listening to the knowledge, Bapuji? Bapuji says, when the class got over, they would go from here. Anand Bhaiya says, so would they cross the solar system and go away? Bapuji says, no, they would go into the subtle world. 50, 100 or sometimes 200 kilometers above the earth they would go. Their UFO would land here in our ashram. One by one they would come 10-15 in number. Anand Bhaiya says, how would the UFO look like? Would their size be? Bapuji says, the UFO were made of 3 elements. Some were made of param tattvas as well. Anand Bhaiya says, of how much foot they used to be? How would they be? Bapuji says, they would take a small form. Anand Bhaiya says, like a Maruti car or like a truck. Bapuji says, it used to be like an orb of light of param tattvas. Some were also made of param light. Some were also of three elements. Along with them, many subtle world souls would also come to listen to our knowledge. They would come with them only, whom we call ghosts or spirits. Even they would look at them and come and sit here, but they would not understand anything. Anand Bhaiya says, so tell us Bapuji, can aliens enter human beings just like how ghosts enter human beings? Bapuji says, no, they don't do that. They are of high quality. Ghosts are of very low quality. I have told you all in the video. I have also told the difference between aliens and ghosts. Anand Bhaiya says, so have you ever met Shiv, Mahashiv or Param Mahashiv? Bapuji says, no, I have never met them. Anand Bhaiya says, Shiv of another solar system? Bapuji says, no. At that time, I spoke to a 1100 Kala person. Anand Bhaiya says, and your subtle form that you speak of, that is there above, what is his name? Have you kept any name for him? Bapuji says, actually, there is another form who is my creation. He is the father of the Behad souls. This form that you said is different, and the father of the Behad souls is different. Anand Bhaiya says, you have not spoken about this form till date. Bapuji says, I have given him the name as Chotu Ram. Anand Bhaiya says, this you have spoken about. Bapuji says, in my old videos, I think I have spoken about this. The children would not understand, right? That's why I never gave any explanation on this. First time I am speaking about this in detail. Anand Bhaiya says, so Bapuji, what is the best technique for meditation for a layman? Bapuji says, now, what does the knowledge in the Gita say? You become soul conscious and remember me, the Supreme Soul. So, if one becomes soul conscious and remembers even Krishna's statue, right? You will get the knowledge from where Lord Krishna has originally come from. Anand Bhaiya says, Bapuji, can you explain soul conscious in simple terms so that people come to know what exactly is soul consciousness? Bapuji says, soul conscious. Soul runs the body. So where does the soul reside? Anand Bhaiya says, in the forehead, between our eyebrows. Bapuji says, for example, our mind. The mind runs the body, right? So in the center point of the mind, the soul resides. The immediate layer above the soul is the mind. Inside the mind is the intellect, and inside the intellect is the sanskars or the impressions. That's why we always speak about mind, intellect and impressions, that is sanskars. So when the knowledge enters the intellect opens up and the mind attracts you towards soul consciousness. When in the intellect the fact that you are a soul enters, know yourself, who are you, from where have you come on earth? There are various categories of souls on earth, right? They have come from different galaxies, universes, great universe, great universe, and so on. I've told you about this in Dolores Cannon's video and in the 3D to 5D videos. So many souls are trapped in this physical mortal world. Anand Bhaiya says, so how can a normal person practice soul consciousness? Bapuji says, I am a soul. Affirm it. Can't this much be done by anyone? I am light. Focus in between your eyebrows. Just like how white bulb glows, focus on the white bulb and not the red bulb. Otherwise, there will be a difference. Before, I was doing it with right light, but I got very little. Then I changed to white light. Slowly, I got a lot from white light. Anand Bhaiya says, so you see that our soul is a white point of light which resides in the center of the brain and we are constantly looking at it. Bapuji says, experience this by looking at a white bulb. Then you will get the focus on your forehead. Just like when you look at the sun's rays, you get the focus on yourself that I am a soul. Then slowly you must become Nashtamoha Smriti Labda, which means detached. When you become detached from your bodily relations, then the mind goes towards soul consciousness. The mind becomes detached from this materialistic world. And how high the quality of the soul is, that much soul conscious it will experience. The proof of soul conscious is to be detached through mind from everyone, that is Nashtamoha Smriti Labda. Also, Ichha Matram Avidyam, which means no desires related to worldly affairs. From childhood, I've seen a lot of poverty in the village. I never used to like that kind of a world. I often used to think that I will grow up and one day go to the Himalayas and meditate and would catch hold of the one who made this world and ask him, why have you made this world? What made you do this? Since there was a lot of poverty when I was small. Anant Patel says, but now you have got so much knowledge, right? So now you can ask, why did you make such a world? Bapuji says, but I myself realized, right, that God has made such a wonderful world. Brahma had done 7 Saptarishis. The world was of param tattvas. But so much creation of souls happened that the soul came down to 3 elements and finally to 5 elements. Anant Patel says, so now when we realize that the reason for sadness is ignorance, then, Bapuji says, you will get the knowledge that you are in this physical world and that you have to go to the spiritual world. Then when you become detached, you can go there through intellect. If you don't have the knowledge, then how will you go there? If you have to go to Vishnupuri, then you will remember Vishnu, right? And Baya says, those who do soul journey using astral plane from one universe to another, from one galaxy to another, how is the plane like? Is it like our plane or else is it round? Bapuji says, I've spoken about galaxy in my video, Life in Andromeda Galaxy. Now about universe, the spaceship that goes from one universe to another. Do you know how many people will be there? 5 to 10 lakh. The whole city journeys in that ship. So when it is at a very far distance, then it will be in an incorporeal form. It will be in the form of an orb of light. They don't make a shape like that because in the atmosphere, the friction will be less. The orb is of param light. For example, there is an orb of 100 kala param light. So its speed would be in 1 second, it goes from one universe to another. The speed is that much. So in the incorporeal form, they stay in an orb of light. Then they travel from universe to galaxies to solar systems, then to Paramdam, and they also come to our physical mortal world. Here they come and get trapped. In this world, they become human beings. In this mortal world, they are trapped in layers, right? And then on earth, when Ardh Pralay, Pralay, Kalp Pralay, Mahakalp Pralay, and Mahakal Pralay happens, then the soul becomes incorporeal during Kalp Pralay. So then they realize that we are not of the solar system. Then they go to our Paramdam, where their state becomes incorporeal. In the incorporeal state, the soul gets the knowledge, and from where it has come, it will go there. Anant Patel says, during meditation, your heartbeat, does it function normally? Bapuji says, my body becomes a light body and my heartbeat becomes almost nil, very little. Anant Patel says, okay, since every time we have seen you, Bapuji, since he is my father, we have seen him going to his room and locking it. We have not seen how he meditates, whether he sits or lays down and meditates. Bapuji says, I do meditation more by laying down and less by sitting. Anand Bhaiya says, so at that time, does your heartbeat also stop? Bapuji says, when one goes in soul conscious state, then the whole body becomes a light body. My latent form is present in the manifest. Anand Bhaiya says, so what effect does it have on the body? Bapuji says, I don't feel body conscious at all. So whether the heart is beating or not, I don't come to know at all. My intellect is in the above world, it's not here, right? Anand Bhaiya says, so if the doctor comes and checks you, what will he come to know? Is the heart beating or not? Bapuji says, he will come to know that the heart is beating because my latent form is present in the manifest. But I'm not completely in that form. My aim is to transform the whole world, and not just this world, but the galaxy, universe, and even the multiverse. That is why it's very important for me to live in this physical manifest form. Anand Bhaiya says, so Bapuji, I want to know, by this kind of a practice, can the body's disease be cured? Bapuji says, yes, it has an effect. It has had a huge impact on me. Before, I used to have a lot of tension. Anand Bhaiya says, in 1998, your sugar was of a very high level, right? Bapuji says, in 1997, 1998, the sugar level was very high, so high that I would take insulin. 98, 99, 2000. Anand Bhaiya says, I think you took only for a year and then you stopped. When did you stop, Bapuji? Bapuji says, first I had BP when I entered my profession. Then doctor told me in 2002, because a lot of demons came, right? I would argue a lot with them. So there used to be a lot of arguments in the physical world. No matter how much I would go into the meditative state, but still they would come in front of me. There used to be so many problems in front of me. The demons would create so many problems because of which I got BP and sugar. And that too sugar of 500 level. That's why I started taking insulin. I used to live in hypertension. When I used to go up, then I would feel so happy. But when I would come down, there used to be so many demons. They used to disturb me a lot. And they were not small demons. They were very big demons. Anant Bhaiya says, then how did this become less? How did this condition become proper, Bapuji? Bapuji says, as I would go deeper to experience soul conscious state, slowly I would neglect these things. I used to stop thinking about them and I would go deeper into knowledge. I used to emerge the knowledge in the Shastras about the solar systems. I kept on emerging a lot of knowledge. When I used to be in soul conscious state, of course, I used to take tablets for BP, sugar, but the BP and sugar levels came back to normal. Even my external insulin intake also stopped. I used to take only tablets. In fact, BP tablets I had stopped a long time back. But in mind, I used to think, if I take one tablet, what would happen? Even my doctor friends, while calling, would tell me, if you would take one tablet, what will happen? I would take tablet as if I'm eating chocolate. I used to feel that neither do I have BP nor sugar. I used to have a lot of control on my diet. Otherwise, if you're in soul conscious state and if you've eaten something heavy, your latent form is in the manifest form, then this won't digest. Then a lot of gas gets formed. Then when you come into body conscious state, right, you have to get up, eat, drink. That time you won't feel like eating or drinking anything. But to run this body, I had to eat and drink. Before, I used to have only one meal. When I used to meditate in Delhi ashram from 2010 to 2018, so that time I only used to eat in the afternoon once. Then in the evening, I used to eat lightly, maybe a fruit, and the whole night I would do yoga. I emerged the whole knowledge in Delhi itself. I have to give a lot of attention in my diet. Should eat very light, otherwise if your latent form is in the manifest form, then the food you have had will not digest. Then it will form gas, and if it forms gas, then it will lead to a lot of problems. Anant Bhaiya says, so Bapuji, this disease will go away through yoga? Bapuji says, I saw when I am in soul conscious state and having the body of param light and emerging the knowledge, then everything will just go away just like that. I have seen this. Even in your enemies, the subtle world souls have entered their bodies. When I used to give the knowledge of the universe, multiverse, that time, these ghost souls, when they would not understand the knowledge, they would enter other souls' bodies and oppose my knowledge. But then I realized that there are demon souls who have entered their bodies. I would realize that the soul with the physical body is also a demon, and the soul who has entered this body is also a demon. They are double demonic in nature. There used to be thousands of demonic souls in number who used to come with them and they would fight with me. I would realize at that time that 1,000 demonic nature souls have come with them, and so I would become light form. I would put rays on them and make them run away. Anand Bhaiya says, Bapuji, when and how did you come to know about Mahakal Pralay? Bapuji says, I had written a book long time ago on Mahakal Pralay, that is Anant Koti Brahmando Ka Mahakal Pralay. In that, I have written about the solar system, galaxy, universe. I used to see them practically, that is why I have written about them. I have made a mention about the time, Satyug, Treta Yug, Dwapar Yug and Kali Yug. When it completes, it becomes one Chatur Yug. Kali Yug is 4,32,000 years. Its double is Dwapar Yug. Anand Bhaiya says, when you go to different dimensions, Bapuji, how do you come to know that you are in this or that dimension? Bapuji says, based on the stage of the soul consciousness, I see different dimensions. When I give the direction to the soul that I want to see this thing, for example, I want to get the knowledge of 2100 Kalas dimension, then when I resolved, my soul as per the direction went to that dimension. Even my subtle form gives me the direction from above. Even my incorporeal form is there in the solar system, so they give me helpline. What I think, they help me in emerging that, and what is happening there, the process and speed, everything is shown to me. I've seen Mahakal Pralay happening in infinite solar systems. That is why whatever I have seen, I have written. It is written in the Shastras, but I have seen all this. The Mahakal Pralay that happens through Mahakal Fire in the infinite solar systems, I have seen it myself. Anand Bhaiya says, where are you at that time, Bapuji? Bapuji says, I am here only. I just sit in my soul conscious state, that is Atma Swarup, and make resolutions. He shows. He will show. Anand Bhaiya says, Bapuji, do you remember some such memory before your birth? These things that you are telling when you were in the subtle form? Bapuji says, I was in the subtle form. I lived in the solar system, this Brahmand, in the subtle form for 3,500 years. In this Brahmand, taking the form of 10 Kala power, that is 10 celestial degrees of power on the sphere of this earth, I remained on this earth in the sphere for 1,000 years for observation. For 1,000 years. Anand Bhaiya says, 1,000 years ago, at that time, it was a different world going on earth. It was a different time. Bapuji says, but I was watching from above. So my sphere was of 10 Kala, of power, and through that I was observing it. Anand Bhaiya says, so you were born for the first time on earth here? Bapuji says, I've come here for the first time to see, to observe what is poverty and all this. Anand Bhaiya says, then in those 3,500 years, did you see that now I should go down? Bapuji says, but I stayed here on earth for 1,000 years, then remained in the subtle realm above it. Anand Bhaiya asks, subtle world means? Bapuji says, it is above that, just above the earth, the mortal world, or the Bhuloka, subtle worlds, that is the Bhuarlok, also stayed in the heavenly world, that is the Swarglok. Maharlok is a higher realm of saints and sages, Janlok, another celestial realm, Taplok, a realm of enlightened beings, and the realms beyond that, Brahmapuri, the abode Brahma, Vishnupuri, the abode of Vishnu, Shivpuri, the abode of Shiv, even in the Paramdam, the Supreme Abode. Anand Bhaiya asks, so did you meet the Shiv of this Brahman, Bapuji? Bapuji says, there is nothing about meeting Shiva that much. He doesn't have that much power. There are infinite solar systems, Brahma, Vishnu, Shankar. Solar system is nothing. In Gyan Marg, that is the path of spiritual truth and knowledge, we see that there are infinite Brahma, Vishnu and Shankar. So here we explain the essence of this knowledge. The essence of knowledge of anything takes time. Now, because we don't have time and there is a lot of work of the worlds above and beyond, isn't it? I go straight up in the realms beyond in the light form. So staying here, I can impart only some knowledge by making a video. Anand Bhaiya asks, 5,000 years ago, Mahabharat must be going on earth. Where were you in the subtle form at that time, Bapuji? Bapuji says that I made a resolution and Mahabharat will be visible to me. Anand Bhaiya asks, where were you in reality at that time, Bapuji? Bapuji says, at that very moment, I was in the Paramdam, the Supreme Abode, in the formless incorporeal form, in our Supreme Abode of our solar system, which at that time was the Supreme Abode, 1 light year in diameter. Right now, the solar system has expanded to a diameter of 1.6 light years. It has grown bigger, so appeared in the formless form at that time. Anand Bhaiya asks, in today's Supreme Abode of the solar system, where you are staying in 1.6 light years, do souls still live in the Paramdam? Bapuji says, it is full, even the Paramdam, that is the Supreme Abode. Anand Bhaiya asks, is the entire Paramdam filled? Bapuji says the entire solar system is filled. Anand Bhaiya asks, then Vishnupuri, Brahmapuri, Shivpuri? Bapuji says, everything is full. Aliens have also come from outside. They are also full. The outside is full of aliens and there are many of our people too. They have come from above to establish Ram Rajya. I told you on top of that, Ram has also come from Vishnupuri. Shri Krishna has also come from Golok. So Ram has come from Sakhet Dham. Everyone. There are 24 incarnations of Vishnu in Vishnupuri. All of them. Then in Shivpuri. But no one came from Shivpuri. There are also 28 incarnations of Shiva where Shiv Shakti resides above in Shivpuri. Anand Bhaiya asks, are they still there? Bapuji says, yes, right above. Anand Bhaiya asks, all the incarnations are there in the subtle form? Bapuji says, then he is also in Paramdam. Souls go in the incorporeal stage in the Paramdam. It is very full. The Paramdam is very full. In the incorporeal stage, the soul is Gyan Swarupam, full of knowledge. Kevalya Gyan Swarupam. Anand Bhaiya says, so did any divine souls ever come to meet you from the subtle world during meditation? Bapuji says, they came, but I have described her in many times before. Once upon a time, it was probably 2007, when I was doing meditation at night. So in the 3 colors, the 3 celestial degrees of power of our universe, there were some supreme, super powerful souls from the great universe in the absolutely light form came. They had the power of 200 color. Those people came to meet me in such a strong light form. I saw them. So they took out my subtle body and went straight up there to the 3rd realm of our universe. In the 3rd color, there was the solar system. They took me there and then I was like, what is happening? And I did not understand anything. So it was about 2007 or 2006 and I did not understand. I was doing meditation. Then they explained clearly. There was a huge ideal of mine. They explained that they came from the great universe. There were 5 crore of our supreme, super powerful souls with 200 color power. They had the power of 200 color. So I said to them, please help me in changing, reforming this earth, this world. I told them, because they were worshipping my huge form of light and there was an atmosphere of 10 color param level of vibrations, 10 color level of supreme light of the Brahmand. It was like hard to imagine and think such was the universe and they were param Mahashaktis. So I requested to them, help me on earth, at least a little with all this. But they started to laugh. Those supreme superpowers said, "Who can help you? You can do whatever you want on your own." I did not have that much knowledge at that time. Though I had the knowledge in 2006, 2007, but did not have that much knowledge. It was a very wonderful experience for me. I cannot express my experience in words. The entire universe and these supreme, super powerful souls are of divine light, divine form, intellect highly refined. So all these people reported all their observations in the great universe, great universe. When I talked to the owner of the 21st generation, then he said these people had made the report. So these people gave the report to the 21st PD generation. So the person of 21 PD again gave it to the Prime Minister of Behad. They gave to the PM of the unlimited world, that is Behad ke PM. Then that PM gave the report to me above. The ultimate abode of the infinite Kala Paramdam, from where I came from originally. We're talking about there, and I will tell you everything gradually. A lot of hard work has been put in this, but then it became an experience. So we get lost in it. Then what is happening in this world and what not, one doesn't care much about it. Because there is a lot of work above, isn't it? Only to change this multiverse, but the multiverse is of 100 Kala. But up there, by observing the universe of millions and crores of Kalas, they are changing that too. But nothing like this. I've come here for the first time. Everything will change after observation, and everything will change. Everything will change. So those who have heard it in words, right? Was it not revealed in the sacred Vanis of the BK's spiritual group that Behad Father will come and make you the master of Behad infinite creation, the infinite world? The Behad Father talks to Behad children about infinite knowledge. Those who can understand this knowledge of the beginning, middle and end of the Behad, the infinite world, are the infinite souls, and only these souls will be able to understand this infinite knowledge. Ordinary people will not be able to understand these things. This knowledge is not for the common people. Like Brahma's knowledge, there is knowledge of the beginning, middle and end of the solar system. If there is Maha Brahmand, then the knowledge of Behad Brahma, the knowledge of Supreme Abode of Behad Kala. It took me many years to understand all this. Gradually then, there will be a complete positive change. Spread the vibrations of ultimate supreme peace, that is paramshanti. Spread the vibrations of supreme peace all around in the multiverse by living in a soul-conscious state. So gradually the elements will also change. Even negatives will become positive. If there is a lack of positive vibration, then the Third World War has been already said. Then the Kal, time, fire will burn everything. Then there will be Third World War. Then the fire of death will burn. What will happen has been said. That's why we want positive change. No one should face any problem, and people should get the freedom and liberation in life through supreme peace, param shanti. There is my video earlier also. Anant Patel says, "Okay, Bapuji, you have explained very well and given very good knowledge. The video is getting quite long, so today let's end this video here. But for those divine souls who have come to this channel for the first time, I would like to tell you that you can check out our Unspoken Truth playlist, and I conduct live meditation from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. every night. We have a channel, Param Shanti Motivation and Meditation, in which meditation is done from 5:30 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. by Sakshi Patel in the morning. So definitely join us and visit our website also, that is www.paramshanti.org. All these details are given in the description box below. We also have our WhatsApp number. We also have our email address. You can connect with us, and as Bapuji has given the divine knowledge that this entire multiverse is going to change. Our book is Life in Multiverse. Please definitely read it. This too is free. Download for free. It's in 12 plus languages. Listen to this deep knowledge. Experience meditative yoga further. What Bapuji told you today is very deep. If you're hearing it for the first time, you will think, what is this? But as you listen to the videos of Bapuji, you will understand that this is an endless ocean of knowledge, and you should definitely take out some time to listen to it and experience it. So thank you all very much for watching the video. If you like it, do like, share and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Bapuji, thank you very much. Heartfelt thanks from all of us. Behad ki param shanti. Infinite supreme peace. Thank you very much, Bapuji, once again. Bapuji says, Param Shanti. infinite supreme peace.